How much would you be willing to pay for the F126 DLC? Well, before I get to the results, it's time to have a little bit of a recap in case you've been swallowed up by a dustbin for the past couple of days or something like that. There won't be an F126, but actually an F126 DLC that's coming for the F125 game. Yes. As well, I'll come back to my thoughts on the DLC earlier, but first of all, you guys voted in your thousands, and I can't thank you enough. So, I asked you how much would you be willing to pay for F126 DLC, and you guys, I gave you three options, £10, £20, £30. Those of you who are not familiar with British pounds, I think £10 is about $13 or something like that. I don't know. 12, 11 euros or something like that. I don't know. Yes. But anyway, using those three scales, and 67% of you voted for £20. 33% of you voted for £10. No one voted for the top tier £30. And I think that's correct. If they are offering the DLC for £30, I think that's a stretch too far for people. This, bearing in mind, you've got to remember, this is a game that's going to only have the new cars, which some people think this is a positive step forward. I don't think it is. So I think they should have done this a lot earlier, possibly after the end of F123. You know, F123 was considered a solid game. Yes, not the best. There were issues with it, you know. And obviously, instead of progressing with F120, you know, we've had two changes to both Drive Career Mode and My Team Career Mode over the past two seasons. Now, of course, we're getting a new game, F127, and that work that they've done on those two career modes seems to be, well, gone down the drain. Now, to be honest, there are fatal flaws with both career modes that, especially in later seasons, which means that the career modes just become unplayable. And I do hope that for F127, then they can at least provide a brand new career mode, both Drive Career Mode, My Team, two-player, although I don't believe, is anyone actually playing two-player career mode? I don't know. I'm sure there are those of you out there that do like a two-player career mode, even if the bigger YouTubers like Tim McMahon are not playing it anymore. Yes, I will come back later on and we'll have a wish list for F127. If you've got a wish list of stuff you want to see for F127, now's the time to let me know down in the comments below. But let's focus on the F126 DLC. So why have they gone with the DLC? My sneaking suspicion is that they may have panicked about GTA 6. So I've talked about GTA 6 before. I talked about this in a video that I did a couple of months back, where would there even be an F126, because of course their contract was expiring. It seems that they may have that 2-year option has been what's the word I'm looking for, agreed upon. So that 2-year option has been taken on, and they will have that 2 years. After F127, who knows? Because there's nothing that's been said. We're delighted to announce a new contract with FOM to make the F1 game until 2033 or 2035 or some ridiculously long time away. You know, there's been no text like that at all. So this presumably is still being made under the current agreement, and they've given FOM, I presume, are not impressed, and F127 could be their last hurrah to impress FOM and the player base as well, because obviously there are major problems, there are big bugs, which I think that once the DLC is released, that's it. There'll be no patches. You know, we haven't even had a performance patch to address F125's career performance. We've had multiple driver ratings upgrades because they got those wrong to begin with. However, we have had no, yes, that's no performance upgrades. So the teams are all based, I presume, on performance from either the early rounds or pre-season testing. So the fact they've not done that, is a bit worrying, which is why in my driver career modes we've got the likes of Racing Bulls stuck at the back. We've got Alpine in the midfield, for goodness sake. And Alpine, yes, apart from Brazil, where Gasly got those 2 points, they've been having a real stinker recently. They should be way off the pace in terms of performance. So, realistically speaking, this lack of upgrades, the performance, and the fact that there's still major bug issues, Bahrain Turn 4, for example, comes to mind. There's quite a lot of bugs that are still in the game. And yes, I know you can't fix every bug that the players will have, but this Bahrain Turn 4 is noticeable and it needs looking into ASAP. There's probably numerous other ones as well that need looking into, because the game is not solid. That's my point with this. I don't mind them doing the DLC. I think that if you've got a stable game that's got a good career mode, it's got there's good multiple game modes that are going to keep players playing. That's the DLC will then say, right, we've got a strong base of the game. Here's the DLC. We're going to focus on making X, Y, Z changes that we will announce for F127. And again, I'll come back to F127 in another video. Wishlist what you want to see for F127 in the comments below, please, as well. But yes, the problem is F125. It's not a strong enough game. The base isn't there. Driver career mode is as dull as dishwasher water sometimes. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you get deeper into the career mode, you have run out of options. The R&D, you get locked. It gets stuck behind thing. Like, if you've watched my driver career mode videos, you will know that I've cut back, in this second season, I've cut back a lot of the stuff. I've cut back the rivalries, I've cut down the percentages, I've cut back the ratings, I've cut back the specialists as well, because it is all tedious. Like, all of that, it's just, you get boring after about 2 minutes, and I have to keep seeing the same screen for the past year and a half now. The same thing with my team. Yes, my team got a refresh, and while I made a point about this when they announced this. I don't like the way they did my team, the fact that you don't get to drive as yourself. That was the allure that I personally think brought players into my team, was you're still driving as you, but it's your team. I personally think that with my team, if I was playing it, I would think, I've not really got an attachment to this driver. I've got to I want to win the constructors. With my team, when you were driving yourself, you had A, the drivers to think about, and B, obviously the constructors. There's a whole, and then of course we don't get into the comparison as F1 Manager 24. Now, yes, F1 Manager has obviously taken a step back, but I think it could get a little revival next year. There are plenty of good enough mods that will probably give this game a new lease of life. Update all the driver transfers, because the game, I'm pretty sure there are some great modders out there that will create the liveries and the teams. Hopefully they can add Cadillac as well, but I don't know about that, to be honest, with F1 Manager. They're definitely adding it to F125 though, so Cadillac will be there in terms of when the F126 DLC drops. But yes, I kind of think that because, as I said, because the base game's not there, this is going to flop. And I think that they kind of panicked about GTA 6. I mentioned GTA 6 earlier. The fact that GTA 6 is now delayed means that this, yeah, racing games are sort of, we've got a couple that are coming out recent. You know, we've got Assetto Corsa Evo that's just come out. That's been fully fledged into full release, possibly at some point next year. We've got Forza Horizon 6 coming. We've got GTA 6 coming as well. There are plenty of racing games there that are coming out next, that are either in progress of being released in their full versions or coming out next year. Assetto Corsa Evo is also going to rival the F1 game because it's going to have an F1 car in it. I believe they are adding another Ferrari, and I believe it's going to be the 25 version in the Ferrari Monza livery that's just been added to F1 25 itself. Yes, so there is a lot of competition. If Forza added an F1 car to Forza Horizon, then this game would be dead. And I think that while people will play it to begin with, again, depends on how much it is. The price is important. If it's £30, yeah. If it's £30, then it's probably a no for most people. If it's less than that, then yes, the cheaper it is, the more players you are going to attract as well. And then obviously if this then fails, then there could be a point where they put it on half price or something to try and attract players in. But at that point, it might be too late, because bearing in mind, you don't know when Forza Horizon 6 is going to release. That's probably going to be a lot earlier now, because GTA 6 is going to be released. So we're probably looking at a September release date for Forza Horizon 6. So realistically, they've got the summer, and that's it. And that's bearing in mind you've got others. That's not including other rival games as well. You know, Assetto Corsa Evo, Project Motorsport as well, although that's not got F1 cars on it. Maybe they'll add that later down the line, who knows, as well. There's a lot out there to grab the attention of casual players who will be looking for this. And the fact that A, you've got no career mode changes, and B, you know, the fact that they've not made changes to performance, yeah. And then obviously, you know, if they're not going to fix the bugs, all the bugs, then, you know, the problem is it's going to be the same game, basically. You know, people are going to get bored of it quite quickly, I think. But yeah, I've rattled on. I apologise. This is supposed to be a shorter video, not 12 minutes. I do apologise about that. As I say, that's me. That's my real take on F1 26 DLC. My personal opinion, think it will flop, because the game F1 25 is not strong enough to carry this forwards. It's not strong enough to carry the players to persuade the players to continue playing on that continued basis. But yes, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. See plenty more F1 25 and now F1 26 DLC videos as and when they come out. As I say, when we get more news, well, I doubt there's going to be any news. The only thing that's less is a release date, really, and a price. That's two things, you know. Yeah, there's not going to... the hype's not there for me, personally speaking. But as I say, let me know what you think in the comments below too. I'm really interested to see what your honest opinion of this is going to be. I would just like to say a huge thank you for those of you who got to the end, for listening to me for 14 minutes of your day. I really do appreciate it as well. But yes, until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and goodbye.